Are you wondering what's good and maybe not so good for you? Well, today I wanted to talk about this because I was talking about this with a friend earlier. And if you stay until the very end, I have an extra point for you then as well. And if you want to connect with me even further, you can find my links to all my social medias linked in the show notes below. So, like I said, I was talking to a friend about this earlier, and we were talking about like all these things like exercise, diet, and general habits that people are like, that's good for you, that's not. And I really wanted to share a perspective on this because often we can adapt to what other people think without actually taking on board what they're actually saying, just because we think maybe they're like an authority, they must know what they're talking about. And I'm always here as a guide. I just want to give you the best guidance I can and allow you to make your own decision on what's right for you. And we're told things are bad for us. And honestly, I think there's a lot of people saying like, no, you should eat that. No, you shouldn't eat this. No, you should. Whilst there's like certain facts that things are good for us and bad for us, at the end of the day, I believe it's about understanding if something is right for you at that moment in time. So, for example, exercise. There's a general idea that exercise is good for you. And yeah, I in general probably agree. Is going run for you, right? Sorry, going for a run good for you if you have a broken leg? No, of course it's not, right? Now that sounds like a silly example, right? Now, if you're an alcoholic, is having a load of alcohol gonna help you? No, of course it's not. Or even a little bit of alcohol probably go into something crazy, right? No, of course it's not. But it's like if you're out for a social and you perfectly fine with alcohol and you want like one or two glasses of wine and you're having a great conversation with a friend and you just enjoy the taste of wine. Is alcohol bad for you? Well, I'd argue in that scenario, if you haven't got a problem with it, probably not, right? There's people jump on it and go, no, it's always bad for you, right? And again, like it's your own decision. People are very, very quick to put their opinion. And of course, I've got my own opinions of things as well, right? But I want you to invite yourself, is this good for me or bad for me? Now, if we go back to alcohol, there are some people who really struggle to have alcohol in a sensible level, and therefore that's why they've quit. Right, that's fine. That may not be the case of someone else, right? And then going back to exercise, right? Like going for a run may be pretty good for someone if they haven't gone for a run for a couple of days and they're feeling fresh and they need to go for one, right? These are silly little examples, but again, it just demonstrates how not to generalize things and understand it for yourself. And it's about knowing yourself more on what's going to serve you in moments, right? And I've totally been guilty of being like, okay, I shouldn't have like that. I should have this because so-and-so said so. So again, I want to come back to you because when we start going by other people's agendas, I find it can be really damaging mentally and to our relationships with ourselves. So these are a few questions I want to ask you or invite you to ask you. The first one, where do you want to go? Always come back to the basics. What do you want or where do you want to go? Where are you aiming in life? And if you really want to sum it down or dumb it down, this is what I would say. All right, what do you want in your physical health, your emotional health, your spiritual, which I tend to term as like your growth and your spirituality, growth and contribution. What do you want with your relationships and what do you want in your finances / business / career, right? Where do you want to go? Because you don't know what you need if you don't know where you want to go, right? That's the first thing. The second thing, ask yourself what would support you, right? So it's like, right, you want to feel really, really happy, right? Okay, what's going to support you in that, right? Maybe it's like for you, not someone else, right? Because people will be like, well, you need to meditate for this about a day, or you need to journal this about, right? No, like what is going to make you feel more energized and joyful, right? And feel into your body for that one. And then the third question, what won't make you feel so good? And be very honest with yourself on that question. Okay, those are the three basic questions. And I'm going to go into share an extra point as well. But to mention once again that if you want to connect with me even further and find me on social media, you can find my links in the show notes below. The final point I want to add is your intuition, right? Really find some time, at least every week, or a few times a week if you can, just to sit with yourself in silence. It's something my coach invited me to do. It's just sit with yourself in silence, because often I find people, including myself, I'm very guilty of this, are just like so busy of just like day to day that we actually don't have that opportunity to connect with ourselves and decide what's right for us. So if you allow yourself to have even just 30 minutes a day, 3 times a week, then you're going to really be able to drown out noises. And that means keeping your phone out of the room, just having a stopwatch, maybe even a journal, so you can just be with yourself and your own thoughts and let your intuition guide you what's going to be good for you and what's not going to be so good for you. So that's what I got for you today. I appreciate you for being here, and remember to lead with your heart, not with fear.